Hey y'all, it's Necey Dixon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, y'all, welcome back. Today, I do not have my little clack because this is a lunchtime live, okay? We're gonna say the liquor for after 5. It's a lunchtime live. And do not think that I forgot about what's that show? Y'all don't think that I forgot about Love and Marriage Huntsville and Love and Marriage Huntsville, DC. I just figured, I ain't done a lunchtime live in a minute, and I wanted to come talk to y'all about Real Housewives of Atlanta, and then I'll double back, and then I'll see y'all this afternoon with my little wine glass in my hand and my little margarita. Okay, so number one, hope y'all are having a happy Monday. Number two, shit is heavy right now. All the stuff in the media. So I hope that we have a good little kiki today, just to take your mind away from all of the Black killings, okay? Because that's exactly what I'm gonna call it. So just know, I hope we have a good conversation, okay? So today I have one picture. We're going to do the review in one picture because I don't want to take a picture for picture because it was really only 2 big events that happened in this episode. And I'm going to tell y'all right away. The tea on Drew's husband. The alleged tea, do I think it's true? Do I think that it's a possibility that it happened? Yeah. And I'm just like low-key surprised that I had never thought of that myself. Here, let me get this situated some way that I kind of like. Ooh, is that? I guess. Okay. I'm surprised that I had never thought about Ralph potentially being into men's with an S, okay? I never thought about that. And I don't know why, but it kind of makes sense. And what I really want to talk to y'all about even more so is Drew's reaction to the tea. Okay, I just couldn't wait to get into that. But Drew's reaction to the tea, Drew was more so just like, this isn't the time or place for this. But girl, what? Is it not the time or place? Or is it that it's not even a possibility that your husband is into men? To me, it just felt like it was a trigger, or either Drew is ditzy AF or either the both of them. Because for me, it would never be a time and a place. It would never be a time nor a place for me to have a discussion with somebody over what my husband's sexuality is, because you should know that, Drew. You should know that. So let's go ahead and hop into order of events. And yes, Nafisa's daughter, I did watch the nightcap. We're going to talk about that later on today at 5:30. All right, let's get into the order of events. Let me grab my notes. So this episode was heavily centered around Brooklyn's birthday party. Y'all, at this point in time, I cannot even believe that little Brooklyn is 3. I can't believe it. Time has just gone by like so fast. And girl, you are your daddy's daughter. It ain't nothing wrong with that. But she looked just like Mark. Like, maybe I have to see baby pictures of Kenya, but that girl looked just like her daddy. Kind of the same way that Eva said that Pilar looked like Dennis with a bow. Kind of like that, okay? So we see her planning the party. We find out that Kenya is gonna spend around $10,000 to $15,000 on a 3-year-old party. And I know some people are like, "Yeah, I'm getting annoyed with my bun because it won't be even. It won't be even. Whenever it's time for you to get a touch up on your box braids, and it's just, what do I do? What do I do?" But anyway, y'all, we're gonna do this so I won't be getting on my nerves. So, what was I saying? Yes, people were split on if she should be spending that amount of money on a 3-year-old's birthday party, and if the 3-year-old would even remember it. And I don't know about y'all, but like very low key, I think my first memories were when I was around 3. Like, I specifically remember like this one non-important event in my life from when I was 3. So I don't blame Kenya for throwing the birthday party for Brooklyn. But if y'all want to be all the way real, that party was not for Brooklyn. Okay. The game of tea was not for Brooklyn. Hey, Monique. Um, the drinks, the rose, the Brooklyn way, that was not for Brooklyn. Y'all know that, okay? So I'm not mad that she had the party, but personally for me, whenever I do become a parent, if I have a party for them, it's gonna be some entertainment for myself. Okay, we're gonna be playing games. There will be drinks, and then we're gonna have little helpers to watch the children, just like Kenya did at this party. So, sis, I ain't mad at you, y'all. I am just shocked because it's yet another episode where I'm really not. I'm not mad at Kenya. I think I might like her. I think I might like her this season. Okay. I don't want to put a period on the end of it because, we didn't had a long rocky, 8 to 10 seasons at this point, or however long Kenya been on the show. So let's go from that scene to now. Let's talk about Marlowe and Sheree. So Marlowe and Sheree, they're having a conversation over like a workout. They got this little scene in there, and you see Sheree working out, and I'm just like, y'all, this is the plot. This is the plot. But if this is how y'all have to get Marlowe and Sheree to film a scene together and to make something feel organic, then fine. So I can't. Jay said, welcome to Teams Pro. We save seats for y'all. Girl, I don't know. Okay. I don't know about that. I'm going to be sitting in the overflow section. So that way, if I need to leave early, I could just dip out. But anyway, Marlowe and Sheree are having conversations, and Marlowe just wants to get advice on raising children because Sheree raised 3 children alone. And I don't remember Sheree having a third kid. I only remember the youngest 2. I remember the girl, and then I remember the boy who was a model. But whatever, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, this is what we're going to talk about with Marlowe this season, is her being a Muntie, right? But really, while all that is cute, the whole purpose of Sheree and Marlowe getting together was to spill tea about this assistant. So again, Marlowe is telling Sheree, well, I heard that you share an assistant with Drew, and the streets are saying, the people are saying that you don't pay your assistant. And she heard from Candy. So Sheree, this is one thing that I've noticed with all of Sheree's conversations having to do with this assistant. Number one is that she's never denied not having paid the assistant until the tea party when she spoke directly to Drew. So she heard about it through Kenya, heard about it through Marlowe at this point, and in each conversation, she's never denied not having paid this assistant, right? So I feel like it's true. And then the other thing is, you take all that information, and instead of getting upset with your assistant and calling him up and saying, stop gossiping about me, because if it's one thing that these ladies are going to do, these ladies are going to spill tea. These ladies are going to talk about you. You know that, bone carrier. You know it best. So it is just beyond me that Sheree is actually taking the time to get upset at not the assistant, but getting upset and adding Candy to the mix. I'm like, that's guilt. Okay, that is definitely guilt. It's something that's true, because why are you more so upset that it's being spread rather than being upset that it could potentially be a lie? You telling on yourself, Sheree. You know better than that. Okay, so next we see Candy, and Candy is talking business as always. She is working on a new play, and I think she's taking a role. I think it's called A la Carte, where she is, or her character is a woman who is interested in other women, and she has sexual scenes with women. Now, Candy was on The Shy, and when she was on The Shy, I think I remember her having a scene where she was into women, or either she was a voyeur and she liked to watch her husband have sex. I can't remember. But y'all know it ain't too far-fetched for Candy to be dipping into the lady pond, especially with all the experiences of her and Portia kissing in the club after drinking Hennessy and all that stuff seasons ago, right? So I'm not shocked. So they have her doing that. We didn't seen it before. We didn't heard it before, right? Tom says he has no issue with her doing that, but they showed a cute little flashback from a couple seasons ago, And I think it was like 2 seasons ago where he didn't want to see her having sex on camera because at that point in time, I think he thought it was going to be with another man. So I'm like, ugh, Candy and Ty, we know what y'all stand for, okay? We know y'all dungeon be dungeoning, okay? Now, Todd, he also, this is another thing that I guess is going to be Candy's storyline this season. It's going to be her and Todd's relationship not being in the place where they want it to be because business just takes over. They're going to be giving us a Rashida and Kirk. Okay. Rashida and Kirk, business. We don't have time for each other. Now, this is not really a storyline that I'm super excited about. For whatever reason, whenever it comes to Candy and her personal storylines, unless Mama Joyce is involved in some beef, I don't really care for her personal storylines because they seem to be the same season over season over season. But I do enjoy having Candy amongst the group of women. I just feel like, we didn't seen it before, we didn't heard it before. Just as I said, it's kind of the same old story, but one thing she don't skip is a beat or a bag. So we know that Candy is gonna make the money, especially if it's easy money. She has a formula. You come on the show, you talk about business, okay? Now, one of the things Ty said that stuck out to me was that their sex game was weak, right? Y'all let me know if I'm crazy, okay? Let me know if I'm crazy. And this is where I need your participation in the comments. I love y'all for joining this lunchtime live, okay? Did I say that? Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And share this with your coworkers, especially the ones who be watching on the clock, okay? But y'all let me know if I'm crazy. Ty said, man, our sex game is weak. The emotional connection isn't there. We only have sex on average 2 to 3 days a week. And honestly, I think he's lying because 2 to 3 times a week in my mind is not the end of the world. I'm like, are you really serious? Usually, whenever people say that their sex life is going through it, they mean like once a week. They mean like 2 to 3 times a month. So whenever he said that, I'm like, okay, number one, either you're lying altogether and this is part of the storyline, or number two, it must be 2 to 3 times a month and not 2 to 3 times a week. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping or if y'all agree with Todd and y'all think that 2 to 3 times a week is like dire need. I was like, boy, stop playing in our faces. Man, okay, since he's 48. Nafisa's daughter said it's not bad at all. Sheree says, right, okay. I was like, what? I had to hop on Twitter after that to make sure that I was not misunderstanding. Kimberly said that's a lot of sex in a week. I'm like, are you okay? I thought it was good. I'm like, what is wrong? And Jay, she says, I smell a storyline. It's a scheme set up by Ty. Y'all know the rest. I agree 100%. I was just like, if y'all are going to come up with a lie, it's going to have to be a little bit better than this, okay? And we all know if you're going to come on reality TV and complain about your sex life, you're not going to want the streets to know that it's 2 or 3 times a month. So I'm like, either you're lying altogether or, I don't know. I guess you'd have to be a sex addict. I mean, for you to work that much and have multiple businesses, I couldn't imagine you having sex 4 to 5 times a week. Okay. Like, I don't even have kids and I be tired. Okay. So I can't imagine, you doing it 4 to 5 times a week with the amount of businesses that Candy and Todd run together and separately. So I feel like he just playing in our face. Shannon says she strives for 6. Girl, that's nice. I think strive is the key word. I think a lot of people strive for a good amount, but for him to say 2 to 3 times a week is weak, I was like, nah. Antonio says as much as Candy travels, there's no way it's 2 to 3 times a week. 5 times a week, they won't get nothing done. Okay. And then Ash Dixon says, and even married 2 to 3 times a week is a lot for married folks. I'm like, y'all, come on. Okay. I'm glad y'all let me know because I was like, damn, am I tripping? Am I whack? What's going on? All right. So conversations about work, whatever. I think what we're going to see them talk about is how Todd feels like he's always doing stuff behind the scenes and Candy gets all the credit. I can definitely see that, but this is a scheme set up by Todd. I don't think that it's ever been in Todd's personality to want to be the person to be on the forefront, which is why I think Candy and Todd work so well together. Because one thing you don't want to do is work with your spouse or work with family, but they've been doing it for so long. I don't really see Todd getting to this point in their relationship and feeling like he wants credit. I'm like, whatever. All right, so next, let's move on to Drew and this assistant. Let's go ahead and call him Anthony. Anthony has been on our screen more than once. Anthony is looking for a moment, so let's give him a moment. They're shopping for Brooklyn a birthday gift. They start talking about Sheree and she by Sheree herself. And I'm just like, the theatrics. I told y'all last week, and I'll say it again, this better not be the motherfucking bolo of the season. If this is the bolo of the season, you might as well just cast the assistants, okay? The assistant should have been at the damn birthday party. I don't want to talk about this the entire season. We know Sheree didn't pay them damn people. We know she didn't pay them people, okay? But now that we got the tea out to the forefront, I think we can actually have fun with this information. But the assistant with the 6-month-old locks every 2 seconds, Sheree herself, she don't. I'm like, he's waited so long for this moment. And I heard from some of the other ladies on Ladies First panel that he actually was one of the assistants on Basketball Wives who was spilling gossip on Malaysia and her kids. So I'm just like, this man has hopped from one reality TV show to another to stir the pot. And I really feel like this is probably the most forefront attention that he's gotten. So I hope that he does something with the time that he's getting. Otherwise, he's just ruining his business. If his main priority is to be an assistant and be in the industry, baby boy, you're ruining your business, okay? All this gossip is not a good look because I would not hire you to go around spilling my tea. I ain't saying you a liar. I'm just saying you spilling tea, and I don't think that other people are going to want to hire you if you telling a business. So next, y'all, Sonya ends up calling Drew, and she is just shaking. She shook because she was in a wreck where an 18-wheeler dragged her car down the side of the road. I was triggered because if some of y'all have been on my channel for a minute, y'all know in January I was in a car wreck. And that was the only car wreck, or it was probably like the most serious one that I had ever been in. I was in another one before where somebody just bumped me in the back. But this one was just, oh my gosh, I was in a car by myself. I was shaking. I hopped on the phone just like that, and I couldn't even make out words. I had a concussion, and I came on here, and I couldn't even make up my sentences. So I absolutely understood like the fear that Sonya was going through when that happened, right? But I did question, like, what was the order of events? Whenever Drew and the assistant decided to come over and pick up Sonya, like, did production have to make it to Sonya before Drew did? And then they mic'd her up and then they started filming for Drew to pick up Sonya. That was just weird to me. It was out of the norm. It was like an organic scene, and we're not used to seeing that on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Usually you see somebody sitting in the room, another person enter the room, and scene. Hey, girl. So I was just like, okay, this is weird. Personally, if I was Sonya, I don't think that I would have wanted that filmed. I wouldn't have wanted it filmed. But okay. Next, y'all, let's get on to the birthday party, right? Kenya and Sheree, they end up having a conversation because Sheree is one of the first people there. People show up an hour late. And I thought it was so funny that Real Housewives of Atlanta did not leave out that the first people to show up on time was not people of color. Monique, this is it right here. Monique says Sonya got 32 adults living with her in her house and Drew had to come get her. Ravine, she says, I'm trying to figure out why Sonya didn't call one of the 20 in her house instead of Drew. Right. That's what I was thinking. The scene just felt weird to me. But yeah, okay, like I said at the birthday party, The first people to arrive to Baby Brooklyn's birthday are non-colored people, 8.5 by 11s. And I'm like, that is so funny because y'all know Black people like to show up on CP time, right? And Kenya and Sheree have conversations about this assistant, and Sheree is saying that she cannot wait to have a conversation with Drew about the whole situation later. I agree with this comment 100%, P. Phillips. That was part of Drew's storyline. So when Sonya turns on her later, Drew will remind us that she was there for Sonya in her time of need. Facts. You right. Okay. But one of the other things that I wanted to talk to y'all about is this damn confessional look. Sheree. Y'all want to know how I actually know? Y'all want to know how I believe that Sheree don't pay people? Because she let somebody do her hair like this. It's very much giving, she hired the hairstylist. They showed up. And right before they got ready to do her hair, she says, go ahead, just go ahead and bill me. And that assistant was like, the hairstylist said, bill me? Bet, I'm going to give you a bill me hairstyle. Because this hairstyle is an absolute mess. I'm glad you could joke about it, Sheree, what I asked for versus what I got. Because it's definitely not getting what you asked for. And then the red lipstick with the fillers is just OD. With the titties sitting up is just OD. With the 1980 shoulder pads is just OD. With the chunky Cuban necklace, OD. The hoop earrings is OD. You stepped into I wish I had a time machine. Sheree stepped into a damn time machine. When I saw this outfit, I was just like, is she serious? Is she serious? And she was. She was. That's the kicker. She said, I want to be Jada Waiter. And then the hairstylist said no. Okay. This is the definition of whenever you see somebody else rock something, that does not mean that it is made for you. Okay. That's whenever she went to the hairstylist and showed the hairstylist a picture of Jada Waiter, and the hairstylist said, we can come close, but I can't do this exact style. Like, it'll look a little bit different. I can make it for you. And Sheree said, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Thinking she was going to look like Jada Waiter. Girl, fire them immediately or start paying people and maybe they won't have you looking like that. So now, y'all, what else? Moneta arrives. This is like all of the tea that we were hearing from the blogs. We saw Angela Simmons last episode, even though we didn't hear her talk. People were saying that Angela Simmons was supposed to be on the show. Moneta Shaw was on the show. And low-key, y'all, the lady who had the red lipstick that was sharing the information on Drew's husband, I feel like this was a big meetup or like a big tester, if you will. This was like a mix and mingle of who would be friends and who would be peach holders of the show. And I think a lot of those women who were Kenya's friends on the show and they were talking and they were there to be a part of the conversation, I think that they were auditioning. I think we saw like an audition scene, right? So Moneta shows up. And Jay, you're right. Moneta was not dressed for the event. Moneta said that they came from somewhere else, so she was underdressed. I feel like, I don't know what was going on with Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I absolutely believe her. And I'm under the impression that she didn't know that she was going to film that day. Because if you knew you had to go to that birthday party, you probably would have packed a change of clothes. And if you knew you were underdressed, that tells me that you might not have known about the party in advance. She didn't know she was going to film that day. Like, I heard from somebody else that in episode 1, whenever Sheree showed up to the dance studio and Sheree was wearing, spring, summer, fall joggers, she didn't know that she was actually going to be filming on the show, which is why she came late. I think they solidified her contract like the same day. So I wonder if that's what happened with Monyetta. Somebody was like, "Girl, we filming today. Come on over. We're gonna be here for the next 3 hours. Come on over, see how you mingle with the ladies, and if you mingle well, we'll make you a friend of the show." And Monyetta said, "Okay, I'm gonna go and do what I gotta do for a check." So I think that's exactly what happened. Yeah, I think they did Monyetta like they did Sheree. So now let's talk about Drew and Ralph. Drew shows up and she's talking to one of the girls and she's like, "Oh, I didn't even tell you what happened." And I'm like, "Girl, I don't know any married people who talk about their marriage play by play, blow by blow, and gives all that tea to their friends. I really don't. Because my thing is like, Drew, if you want to be a clown, go ahead and be a clown in peace and stop bringing us into the bullish. Because whenever you get back with this man, all of your friends are not only going to be mad at him, but they're going to be mad at you. So for you to show up at this birthday party and be like, "Girl, I forgot to update you," I was kind of just like, why are you updating people on this? So Ralph is sleeping in another room because we know last episode they had the falling out because she didn't want to just skip over him talking to the assistant. So their relationship obviously is bad, right? And then another situation happened where he left the house again, and she found out that he went to the bar for drinks and he bought 2 Long Islands. So she was like, "Oh, you bought 2 Long Islands for yourself?" And he was like, "I was with a homeboy." He might not be lying, Drew. He might have been with a homeboy. He might have been. So now, y'all, one of the things that they end up doing at this birthday party is having a game of tea where everybody's supposed to write down what is tea that they had on another person there, but you anonymously write it down. So one of the things that come up, and y'all keep in mind, all of the kids were in a separate area of the party. So you can tell whenever Kenya had this birthday party, the intent was to film for Real Housewives of Atlanta in one room and then have the birthday party going on in another room, right? So what they end up doing is they play this game of tea. They go through the papers, and whenever Candy pulls her piece of paper, it says Candy sucked peen in a locker room, and everybody was like, everybody was shocked. Okay. Now, this is where I want y'all's participation. I want y'all in the comment section to tell me, who do y'all think wrote down on that piece of paper that Candy sucked peen in the locker room? I can tell y'all right now, it was Sheree. In my mind, it had to be Sheree because Sheree was upset that Candy was talking to the other women about this assistant tea. I think Sheree decided that she was going to directly confront Drew since Drew was the one spilling tea on the assistant, but I think she just wanted to take a jab at Candy and be mean at Candy just because whenever Candy was reading it and Candy was shocked, Sheree sat there and she said, and she had her hand over her mouth like this the whole time. And then all the other women, they were able to show their faces. So after Sheree got herself together, she was just like, wow. Okay, I'm seeing some people say Marlowe. I saw one person say Kenya. Low key, I thought it was my second guess was Kenya. My second guess was Kenya because she's still Messy Betty and that's her friend. And I think she would do some ish like that just to get the pot stirring. But honestly, no, my number one choice is Sheree because Sheree is mad. Asia said their confessional told them everything they need to know. Okay, so next, y'all, what they end up talking about again at this table is Kenya versus Marlowe. Marlowe is talking about how she thought that Kenya was renting a car from Lisa Ray, and y'all, I am not too pressed to even discuss that. I'm not even going to allow that to be a storyline. I think Marlowe thought that this season would operate as the previous seasons have, the previous seasons where she was a friend of the show. So I think Marlowe thought that it would be more impactful for her to start beef with Kenya. So this whole Lisa Ray thing is just a scheme that Marlowe set up to get some airtime on the show to make sure that she could secure her peach. So I'm just like, that's tired. I don't want to talk about Marlowe buying a used Rolls Royce. I don't want to talk about that. I don't care. So one of the things that was funny was that during this conversation, Kenya calls Marlowe a bitch. And when she does that, nobody says anything, right? But let Drew and Sheree get into it. So Drew and Sheree, Yasmin says, Kenya said on Watch What Happens Live that it was written in orange ink and only one person had an orange pen. I guess. Kimberly says it's tired through and delayed. Yes, facts. Yes, I'm just like Candy in this situation, Julie. I'm over it. Don't care. Kenya, I feel like, has rolled out Real Housewives of Atlanta to the point to where she doesn't have to be the number one villain. And Marlowe definitely is taking that crown. When when Kenya first came on the show, she had to work to secure her spot, whether that meant twirling on her haters, whether that meant taking a scepter and pointing it at somebody and getting dragged on the stage, whether that meant getting married and not telling someone, or dating, men or trainers who come and bust open your garage doors. Kenya has put in her time on this show. As much as I can't stand Kenya has put in work, okay? And those are seasons where you had people like Nene who put in work but was going to be Queen Bee. You had people like Cynthia and Candy who really didn't have to do much. Now I feel like Kenya has reached seniority to where she don't have to do that much. So all this arguing that Marlowe is trying to do is tied, okay? Without the R, it's tied. So let's get into Drew and Sheree, okay? Let Drew and Sheree start calling each other bitches. The white lady gonna lose her mind, right? So Drew says, I heard that, someone doesn't pay their assistants. And when Drew did this to me, I felt like it was messy. I felt like it was, I don't know, I guess trying to have a storyline for the group. But my thing is like, Drew, you have worked so hard. Oh, Eddie, thank you. First time on your live. Love you, sis. My cousin in my head. Okay, cuz. But y'all, Drew, ever since she came on the last season, she's used her marriage as the forefront of her storyline. Okay, which I thought was foolish as hell. Y'all know what I got to do whenever I think something is foolish as hell. Drew decided to sell her trifling ass husband for a check. So why would you not just go up to Sheree and have a one-on-one scene with Sheree and tell her what Anthony was saying? You didn't have to deliver the news the way you did. I was just like, what? And Monique, the whole point was to remain anonymous, okay? You didn't told everybody else. The whole point was for you to remain anonymous. So she brings it up. And this is where they start arguing. So one of the guests ends up saying to Drew, well, this is a lady with the red lips. I don't even know her name. But she says to Drew, why would you even believe your assistant? Because your assistant, Anthony, is the same person who's telling everyone that your husband is gay. So, Drew, y'all, I think she was triggered. Now, y'all tell me what y'all think. But Drew's reaction to this, to me, was not normal. Okay. I know that Drew could be an airhead, but Drew heard good and damn well what that lady said. Drew said, this is not the time or the place to talk about that. No, we won't do that here. Keep my husband's name out your mouth. What? I was like, Drew, is it ever going to be a time or a place for you to discuss that? Or were you triggered because maybe deep down, when you know that your husband is in Tampa, he's out and about in the streets with the men's? Or is it something that you had thought about before and maybe that she said it out loud, like your brain just couldn't process it? To me, y'all, that was not the first time that Drew had ever heard that. Drew has heard that many times before. And I know that just based on her reaction. So to me, that was weird. Okay. I'm trying to find the argument that Sheree and Drew ended up having on this show. Let me find it. Okay, I found it. But we're gonna get to that. Okay, so let me talk through this argument first. So a white lady gets up and she says, "This is a kid's birthday party. My kids are here." And she walks away. And I'm Marlowe in this situation. I'm Marlowe in this situation. White lady, get on. Get on. Okay. Get on. You know, this is Real Housewives of Atlanta. You came to this table so you could be on the show. And whenever the show starts showing, you want to start playing crazy. So she got up and she walked away. And the other white lady sitting next to Marlowe gonna say, "You good. You good." Now that other one, she can go. But I wanted y'all to pay attention to this. Some of the people who was upset that she did this, that Kenya did this at a kid's birthday party. Whenever the white lady got upset, there was a lady who was wearing like a nurse's outfit and she escorted the woman out. This lady is in charge of watching the kids. Y'all know this is Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think Kenya did this absolutely responsibly. You have one room for the women to film for the show. You got another room for the kids to play in. If Karen wanted to be with her daughter, she should have been over there with her daughter instead of acting like somebody was coming for her. I'm like, okay, whatever. So Drew ends up saying, okay, you guys, Anthony is on probation. And you know, Candy, one thing she don't play about is her mama or her man. And Candy said, "Probation? You need to fire his ass. Did you hear what she just said? Did you hear what Anthony just said about your husband?" And Drew said, "What? What did she say?" And they said, "Wow, you really are ditzy." And Sheree just bust out laughing. And she was like, "Oh, well, she just said your husband was gay." Drew was like, "That's not true. Keep my man's name out your mouth." Da, 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 da. So they get up, they move from the table where they were talking to now it's the end of the party. And Kenya is like, "Okay, enough." And scene. Okay, we got to get our kids. She didn't say that, but we got to get our kids. Y'all talk about this another day because y'all didn't talk about it enough. They're arguing back and forth. Candy announces to all of the women that she wants to invite them on a cash trip to New York for the play, right? But one of the things that still didn't add up to me was, Drew, now that you got this tea on your husband, instead of you talking to this lady about it or calling your assistant on the phone and asking him about it, you start putting your hand in Sheree's face like you want to fight. The delusion. When are you going to figure out that your beef is not with Sheree? Your beef should be with your assistant who called your husband gay. And what makes it worse is that your assistant is visibly, from what I can assume, gay. So you would think that he has some credibility in the tea that he knows, because maybe they hang around the same people. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he didn't see him out and about. But I'm just like, girl, not you trying to put your hand in Sheree's face, because low key, I would have been glad if Sheree decided to drag your ditzy ass. Like, don't put your hand in her face. That was real ugly, real uncalled for. So that lets me know, number one, you heard of the rumor before about your husband. Number two, you are trying to separate your brain from, you know, really trying to understand or comprehend what the lady was saying to you, because you probably don't even want to think about your husband being gay. And y'all, I think that might even be part of the reason why Drew keeps talking to us about her husband cheating. And that might be part of the reason why Drew keeps bringing up this damn assistant, is because you would rather know that your husband cheated on you one time with a woman than to know that your husband could allegedly or possibly have ongoing relationships with men. And the fact of the matter is that he just doesn't want you at all, period. So I think that's why she chooses to talk to us about him being trifling and about him being for the streets and for the women, because you don't want to talk to us about him being for the men. You don't want to. And I think that's also why Ralph acts like he absolutely hates her. So that's a damn mess. But Sheree and Drew, they don't stop the arguing there. They get on Instagram and they argue some more. So I wanted to show y'all some of the tweets that I found on Peach Report Daily. Let me go ahead and pull that up. If I can. Hold on. It's asking me for system preferences. Okay. Oh, fuck. Damn. I don't know if I can do it. Chrome tab. Peach Report Daily. Share. Okay. I think y'all can see my screen. All right. So let's read these tweets. Okay. Shout out to Peach Report Daily. Drew says, if you can't distinguish spring, summer, and September, you probably can't keep your payroll straight. Now, Drew, you know you should have never mentioned straight, right? You know that word should have never came out your mouth. So Sheree says, just like you can't keep your marriage straight. I was like, damn, that was an easy read. But they kept going. So next, Sheree says, instead of paying 3 assistants when you aren't really working, you should invest that into a real marriage counselor. Damn, Drew, you should have just sat there and ate your food, because Sheree ain't never lied. When I first seen Drew come on the show with the 3 assistants, I was like, for what? Chef? For what? If you don't work, you need to be at home cooking. Chef? For what? Now, Drew says, keep my husband's name out of your mouth, in her Will Smith voice. And Sheree said, or what? Keep my finances out of your mouth. Who the F are you? A bank teller at Wells Fargo? I don't know her. Okay. I have to say, y'all, it was Sheree for me. Drew, you shouldn't have said nothing. Okay. Nafisa says Sheree ate Drew up on the show and Twitter at the same damn time. Definitely. And y'all agree, okay? Somebody says Drew flipped out in denial. Thank you for the super sticker, Tiana. Let me find that. Here we go. But yeah, I really work. Kenya deserves her flowers. Danisha, yes, Danisha, she just fell straight into the read. Help her. Yeah, that was a beginner's mistake. Okay, you set yourself up. You should have never mentioned the word straight at all. Okay. Eddie says, me being a SGL, same gender loving gay, is the term for white men. I am suspect of most men that move to Atlanta. I lived here for 12 years. Well, bloop. What else? Ash says Sheree can't be the one talking about a marriage counselor when she can't even get Tyrone not to block her. Bloop. Okay, I was hearing that too. Like, Sheree, you want to talk about marriage when you got a man in Philly that can't leave, the city or the state that he live in. But girl, okay. Jen says, but Drew wasn't the sharpest pencil in the box. Kimberly, this is the one. Drew should have kept it cute and on mute, okay? She should have, because you ended up playing yourself. Now, y'all, that's all I have for Real Housewives of Atlanta, but I will see y'all this evening at 5:30 Central Standard Time for us to talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, as well as Love and Marriage DC, okay? I hope y'all enjoyed this lunchtime live. If you did, you already know the drill. All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this live. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, bring a drink so we can talk over happy hour at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.